It's week 12 of the Labor Pains Project. I am working on folklore and folk tales at this time. If you haven't seen the movie Sinners yet, please go see the movie Sinners. I've seen all of this dialogue online about folklore and folk tales, and I love that right now, at this point in American history, at this point in the world, in world history, that we are returning to these roots of folklore. And that's an interesting thing to say, especially I use AI. I love technology. I think technology is the greatest thing since sliced bread. So it's not like I'm an anti-tech kind of person. I love technology. I think it's wonderful. And at the same time, I am also a very rooted individual. I like to think of myself as a very rooted individual. I believe in indigenous technologies and in indigenous spiritualities. I don't see conflict between my African diasporic roots and my Christian faith. I do not see a dichotomy between my love of God and my respect of science and scientific achievement. I think all of these things work together to create a really lovely reality and a really beautiful universe. But that's a whole other conversation. I think that right now there's so many different conversations going on, whether it has to do with technology and science, whether it has to do with diversity, whether it has to do with traditions and indigenous peoples and folklore and history. There are just so many conversations that are happening that to me tie into this Labor Pains project. And I love that I am able to use my art in a way to not only bring up the various embodied experiences within all of those different subjects and categories and themes, but also to have a chance to really use our folkloric heroes and the heroes of our folk tales to imagine what freedom might look like for us in the future. It's amazing because I've been on this creative artistic journey in the past few years where I've really kind of walked away from things that hearken to the enslaved and oppressive past of the African diaspora. And I've been attracted more towards Afrofuturism and really living in what freedom looks like for the African diaspora and imagining that as opposed to constantly going back to an oppressed past. And I find way more freedom and creativity in those kind of imaginings than going back. And this Labor Pains project, for me, one of the things that attracted me in the design of it and the way that I've designed it is the fact that it does reach back and goes forward throughout the course of the journey, throughout the course of the script. And so I really wanted to take some time to dive into that aspect of the Labor Pains project. So yes, while there's, addressing the labor and economy aspect of it, and while there's addressing the social construct of racism and gender ideology, that part of it, while there's also addressing the historical and systemic oppressions, and there's that part of it. There's also this element of folklore and folk tales and folk heroes and tricksters and wise elders and healers that is very much embodied in us, in our blood, in our veins, whether we realize it or not. It's something that just kind of is a part of us because we are born into this tradition. And I really want to take some time to honor that. And so this month, the month of May, is going to be dedicated, these blogs are going to be dedicated to folktale and exploring folklore and folk tales and folk heroes, and really what that does for not only Black American culture, but how we can use those images of ourselves and how we've come and shown up and been revealed in stories of our past, and how we can use that to imagine and embody a freer future. So no matter where we hail from, each of our ethnic groups, our cultures, our identities, they are tied to these really beautiful stories that share so much about our experience. And I think that we are at a time where we need to dig back to those stories in order to remember the greatness and to be empowered by the greatness that we embody at all times. So I look forward to diving into folklore with you, and I hope you join us this month.